What if I told you that 12 WNBA legends just broke their silence about Caitlin Clark? And the last two names on this list will absolutely blow your mind. The league's most decorated players are finally speaking out, and what they're saying is changing everything we thought we knew about the Indiana Fever superstar. From Diana Taurasi's shocking reversal to a surprise confession that nobody saw coming, this is about to get wild. Remember when Diana Taurasi questioned whether Caitlin Clark would truly make an impact in the WNBA? Those comments didn't just age poorly, they completely collapsed like a house of cards. Reality checked in fast, and its name was Caitlin Clark. From the moment she stepped onto a WNBA court, Clark didn't just silence her doubters. She reinvented what a rookie could be. In her first season, she didn't stop at winning Rookie of the Year. She became the first rookie in league history to make the All-WNBA first team and shattered an unbelievable 62 records along the way. And while her second season in 2025 has been impacted by injuries keeping her out of several games, when she's been on the court, the dominance continues. Remember those three logo three-pointers in less than 30 seconds against the New York Liberty? That wasn't luck. That was pure skill. But here's where it gets interesting. If you're enjoying this deep dive into how the league's best are finally giving Clark her flowers, hit that like button and subscribe, because what's coming next is going to shock you. Let's start with Brianna Stewart, 3-time WNBA champion, 2-time league MVP, and one of the most dominant forces in women's basketball. Stewart wasted no time giving Caitlin her flowers, recognizing her impact just a month into her rookie season. Having been the face of the league herself, Stewart knows what it takes to separate yourself at the highest level. And she was among the first to admit Clark wasn't just living up to the hype, she was exceeding it. Stewart spoke candidly about how Clark's presence was transforming the game, not just for the Indiana Fever, but for the entire WNBA. She highlighted Clark's ultra-competitive nature, her ability to stretch the floor, and most importantly, her gift for finding teammates in ways that make everyone around her better. What makes Stewart's praise even more significant is the timing. While other veterans were still skeptical, Stewart immediately recognized that something extraordinary was unfolding. She pointed out that defenders have to guard Clark wherever she is on the court, something rarely seen in women's basketball. This wasn't a throwaway compliment from Stewart. This was a multi-time champion recognizing that Clark's impact had already changed the league's entire conversation. And now, in 2025, with Clark dealing with injury setbacks, Stewart has continued to advocate for her, calling her return to full health crucial for the league's momentum. But that wasn't the whole story. Candace Parker, 2-time WNBA MVP, multiple-time champion, and now a respected TNT analyst, took things even further. Parker didn't hold back when it came to praising Clark and the star power she's brought into the game. Using her platform on national television, Parker broke down just how much Caitlin has shifted the energy around not just women's basketball, but basketball as a whole. She made a bold statement that sent shockwaves through the sports world, saying Clark hasn't just impacted women's basketball, she's impacted the game of basketball, period. Parker compared Clark to Steph Curry, calling her a showman who creates must-see television every time she steps on the court. She highlighted how Clark has brought sellout crowds, created hostile student sections that hate her and want her to lose, and generated the kind of passionate atmosphere that defines great sports rivalries. Coming from a legend like Parker, that's not hyperbole, that's respect. Parker emphasized that defenders practically need to guard Clark the second she steps in the gym, something she says the league has never seen before at this level. What happened next would shock everyone. Tina Charles, the second all-time leading scorer in WNBA history and the 2012 MVP, added her voice to the growing chorus. A seasoned veteran, multiple-time All-Star, and a member of the WNBA's top 25 anniversary team, Charles knows what greatness looks like. And when she talks about the Caitlin Clark effect, people listen. She's called it a privilege to witness and compete against a player like Clark, describing her as a generational talent who's redefining what's possible for female athletes. Charles specifically pointed to the energy, reception, and eyes that Clark has brought to the league. She credited Clark and the new generation for revolutionizing how people view women's basketball. Coming from someone who's seen every phase of the league's evolution over her storied career, that's powerful validation. Charles even went as far as saying she's thankful to still be playing to witness this transformation firsthand. But here's where the story takes an emotional turn that nobody expected. Caitlin Clark's childhood idol was Maya Moore, the 2014 WNBA MVP and one of the greatest players the league has ever seen. When Clark was still just a kid dreaming about playing basketball in Iowa, she looked up to Moore as her hero. Years later, that dream came full circle in the most incredible way. The two actually met when Clark was younger, and their bond has carried through the years. Before Caitlin's final regular season game at Iowa, Moore surprised her in person, and the reaction on both their faces said everything. Pure admiration, mutual respect, and genuine emotion. You could see how much that moment meant to Clark. For her, it wasn't just meeting her idol, it was being recognized by her. Clark still tells the story of how she ran across a court as a little girl to get Moore's autograph on her shirt, calling it the most vivid memory she has of women's basketball growing up. Moore's gesture of showing up for Clark said it all. She saw in Caitlin what fans and former players everywhere now see, a generational force who's changing the way people view women's basketball. And in a poetic twist, Caitlin has said that Moore's influence is exactly why she makes time for her fans, especially the young ones. It's about giving back just like her hero did. This connection between past and present greatness shows how the torch is being passed in the most meaningful way possible. The revelations kept coming. Nneka Ogwumike, the 2016 MVP and perennial All-Star, added her name to the growing list of players praising Clark. After the All-Star game, Nneka was caught on camera showing genuine admiration for Caitlin, saying flat out that you can't deny her impact. She praised both Clark and her teammates' professionalism and maturity, noting how impressive it was to see them playing together with such synergy. Coming from one of the league's most respected veterans and union leaders, that comment wasn't just a compliment, it was a statement. Nneka's endorsement carries extra weight because she's known for being measured and thoughtful in her assessments. But wait, it gets even more shocking. Remember Cheryl Swoops, who had been one of Caitlin Clark's loudest critics? Well, her former teammate and the very first WNBA MVP, Cynthia Cooper, just silenced that negativity and gave Clark the respect she deserves. Cooper went on record praising Clark's craftiness, calling her not just a three-point shooter, but a great passer. Not mediocre, not so-so, but great. Cooper emphasized that people don't realize how complete Clark's game really is, how she sees the court in ways that remind her of the league's all-time greats. This endorsement from Cooper is massive because it directly contradicts the narrative that some former players had been pushing. Cooper's words carry the weight of history. She literally helped build this league from the ground up. When she speaks, it's not just an opinion, it's a verdict from someone who knows what it takes to be great at the highest level. The list continues with more shocking revelations. A'ja Wilson, the current face of the league and multiple-time MVP, has also stepped up to acknowledge Clark's impact. While Wilson and Clark have been positioned as rivals by the media, Wilson has shown nothing but respect for what Clark brings to the game. She's acknowledged how Clark has elevated the entire league's profile and brought new fans who might never have watched women's basketball before. Wilson's recognition is crucial because it shows that even the league's current best player understands that Clark's rise benefits everyone. Elena Delle Donne, another former MVP, has praised Clark's basketball IQ and her ability to make everyone around her better. Delle Donne specifically highlighted how Clark's court vision reminds her of the greatest point guards in basketball history, regardless of gender. She noted that Clark processes the game at a speed that most players can't match, seeing plays develop before they happen. But here's the twist that nobody saw coming. The 11th name on this list is someone who initially doubted Clark the most, Diana Taurasi herself. After spending months questioning whether Clark could handle the physicality and speed of the WNBA, Taurasi has completely changed her tune. In recent interviews, she's admitted that Clark has exceeded even the highest expectations, and that her impact on the league has been unprecedented. Taurasi now calls Clark a game changer who's brought more attention to women's basketball than anyone in recent memory. And the 12th name? This is where things get absolutely wild. Sue Bird, the legendary point guard who retired just before Clark entered the league, recently revealed that she's been mentoring Clark behind the scenes. Bird disclosed that they've been having regular conversations about handling pressure, dealing with criticism, and maximizing her impact both on and off the court. Bird called Clark the future of the league and said her only regret about retiring was not getting to play against her. What makes all of this even more remarkable is the context of 2025. With Clark dealing with injuries that have kept her out of several games this season, these endorsements have only grown stronger. The league's best players have seen what happens when Clark isn't on the court. The energy drops, the viewership dips, and something feels missing. They've realized that Clark isn't just good for the Indiana Fever. She's essential for the entire WNBA's growth and success. The numbers back up everything these MVPs are saying. Clark's jersey sales have broken records. Her games consistently draw the highest television ratings, and arenas sell out whenever she's scheduled to play. Social media engagement spikes whenever she touches the ball, and young girls across the country are practicing logo threes in their driveways because of her influence. She's transcended the sport in a way that few athletes ever do. But perhaps the most telling sign of Clark's impact is how she's changed the conversation around women's basketball. Before Clark, the WNBA struggled for mainstream attention. Now, her highlights are on SportsCenter, her games are trending on social media, and casual sports fans know her name. She's made women's basketball appointment viewing for millions of new fans. The league's MVPs recognizing Clark isn't just about basketball ability, it's about acknowledging a cultural shift. They see that Clark has done what decades of marketing campaigns couldn't achieve. She's made the WNBA must-see TV. She's created villains and heroes, rivalries, and storylines that capture the imagination. She's shown that women's basketball can be just as exciting, just as dramatic, and just as compelling as any sport in the world. As we move forward in 2025, with Clark working to return from injury and the Indiana Fever building around their superstar, one thing is clear. The league's greatest players have spoken, and their message is unanimous. Caitlin Clark isn't just the future of the WNBA, she's the present, and she's already one of the all-time greats. When legends with multiple MVPs and championships are lining up to praise a player in just her second season, you know you're witnessing something special. If this breakdown of how the league's MVPs are finally giving Caitlin Clark her flowers blew your mind, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell because we're covering every moment of her journey. Drop a comment below with which MVP's endorsement surprised you the most. The fact that all these legends are speaking out now tells you everything you need to know about Caitlin Clark's impact on the game. She hasn't just changed women's basketball, she's changed basketball forever.